In this video, you're going to learn how to build a high-performing Facebook ads campaign for lead generation. Now, first things first, people are asking, do Facebook ads still work to drive leads and for e-com sales? Absolutely. And in fact, by 2026, it's projected that they're going to be doing close to $200 billion in annual ad revenue. So the platform still works, but there's some things that have changed, and I want to show you what that is. So I'm going to give you a walkthrough of how we would go about building a campaign. And along the process, I want to share with you best practices in terms of how to set up your campaign structure, how to do some of your fundamental targeting, key tips and insights about creative as well. So the first thing I want to point out is that the way you build campaigns has changed. Now, if you are just starting to advertise on Facebook and you've never done it before, first thing that I want to say is to get to the screen that I'm at, you want to type in business.facebook.com. Now, if you do not have an ad account created, if you don't have a pixel created, these are some of the things that you're going to have to do first. I would recommend you that you first create what's called the Facebook Business Manager, and that allows you to control all of the assets that you're going to create for Facebook, including your ad account, the pixel that allows your website to communicate with Facebook Ads Manager, your linking your profiles, your Instagram, your Facebook profile, if you already have one created. So it allows you to create assets and allows you to sort of organize those assets. So you want to set that up first. We're not going to go and cover that in this video. Those are prerequisites that you want to do. Even if you haven't done that yet, that's totally fine. You can follow along, and then, in the future, you can go ahead and do that. So the first thing I'd point out is that previously we had close to 13 different objectives. Facebook has now reorganized that, and now we have basically 6 main objectives that you can see here, from awareness all the way down to sales. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction of these different objectives. Awareness, 99.9% of advertisers probably watching this. You don't want to use this. This would make sense if you're a big brand advertiser like a Procter & Gamble. Maybe you're trying to promote Head and Shoulders, or maybe you're trying to promote Tylenol, or maybe you're trying to promote Mr. Clean products, things that everybody needs. That is where these awareness campaigns might make sense. Also, if you're a localized business and you're trying to make people familiar with, you're opening up a store or something like that, that might be where this makes sense. Traffic is either driving somebody to your website or driving somebody to Messenger, to your app. Again, 99% of the people watching this, you probably don't want to use this. Engagement is if you want people to literally engage. So that if you want them to comment, people that are most likely to watch your videos to completion, probably not relevant for you. Leads, we're going to talk about this in detail, but quickly I want to introduce the other 2 options. App promotion, if you have an app and you're trying to get people to download your app or take an action within your app, such as buying something. And then, of course, sales, which is what you would use if you were trying to run an e-com campaign. So we're going to focus on leads. And before we actually build a campaign, I want to show you what an overall campaign structure, ad sets, and ads look like from a campaign that I have already built in the past. So when you're on the Ads Manager screen, which you can get to by just typing in business.facebook.com/ads manager, this is basically what it looks like. And you have 3 fundamental levels. You have the campaign level, and this allows you to organize different initiatives that you might run that might have different objectives. You have the ad set level that would then be within a campaign. So if I clicked into here, you're going to notice now I'm at the ad set level. For this campaign, it's showing me all the different audiences that I have. And it's not just audiences. This is where we also control other things like what dates this is running, your budgets, and other key details. And then the third level down here you have is ads. So if I click on one of these audiences, you'll see that it can now show me the 4 different ads that are part of this. So that's the fundamental level. Again, the fundamental difference is that there's some settings that are going to be available at the campaign level that are not available at the ad set level, and vice versa. There's settings at the ad set level that are not available at the campaign level. So let me show you what that looks like. I want to just show you how we would go about building that from a brand new campaign. So If you're following along, all you have to do is hit the create button here. And again, this is for lead generation. And there's different ways that you can go about your strategy. It could be driving somebody to your website to download something or submit a request for a demo, or it can be using what's called the instant forms that Facebook has to get somebody to share their information within the platform. So also for this video, I prepared a little brief here that will help us build this campaign. So my campaign brief here has key information such as my campaign name, the objective, the name of the audience, and I already have all the creative prepared as well. Also, the context of this campaign is that I have this downloadable asset that I want to get people to download. It's this ebook here, and the goal is, just to give you some context, I have this course called Hypergrowth Ads, so I'll show you what that looks like. And I'm trying to basically get people to sign up for my Facebook ads course. But I know that many times prospecting a course like this, it's hard to get people to sign up because they don't know what it is, they don't know who your business is. So my strategy basically is to drive people to a landing page, get them to download this free guide that gives them all kinds of insights about Facebook advertising, and then through my email automation campaign, it's gonna push people to visit the course page and to get interested into the course. So that's a little bit of background on my strategy. So let's go ahead and start with the building of this campaign. I'm gonna copy the name, and then I'm gonna go back here to my campaign screen, hit continue on leads, and as you can see on the left-hand side, we see the 3 levels there. So the campaign level, the audience level, and the ad level. And just note that under one campaign, you can have multiple audiences, and you could also have multiple creatives. So for special ads category, we don't have to touch this. If you were advertising and for anything housing or credit related or politics related, you would have to self-declare that. And it's gonna limit some of the capabilities that you can use within targeting to be compliant to US law and regulations. Okay, so as you can see, we're gonna leave the buying type to auction. Auction is the default, but there's another option that we could do as well. And then we're gonna do leads, campaign spending limit. If you have a total budget for the campaign, like an overarching budget, you can enter it here. You don't have to do that if you don't, and if you're running like on a daily budget, you don't have to set that up. We're gonna skip A/B test, and then advantage campaign budget plus. This used to be called CBO, campaign budget optimization. All this does is that if you have more than one audience and you have a total budget for your campaign, it'll dynamically move your money between whichever audience is getting the most amount of leads at the cheapest cost. Because we're only going to create one audience for this, I'm not going to turn it on, but it is a best practice in most situations to have this turned on. All right, so I'm just going to hit next. And Facebook's giving me a recommendation saying switch to instant forms and messenger. Well, of course they want you to do this because they're trying to get people to have as many in-platform signals as possible because they can track all that. Once you go to a website, they have limitations in what they could track, especially with the changes in tracking due to iOS 14. So if you've opted out of tracking and you push them and you're on the website, there's limited signals that they can get. But if you're within the Facebook ecosystem, so if you're using instant forms and your users are engaging with it, they get more signals. So this is why they might be prompting us. But in this situation, we don't want to do that. Nevertheless, I want to introduce to you some of the different lead conversion locations that you have. But first, I will copy my ad set name, which I will explain what this targeting is in a second. Okay, so you can get somebody to generate a lead through your website. You can use that native instant lead generation form. You can get someone to submit a lead through Messenger. You can get someone to submit a form through instant forms and Messenger. You could also do it through Instagram as well. You also have the ability to get somebody to call, and that's considered a lead as well. So you can run an ad and someone can just instead of pressing like download now or sign up or learn more, you can have a CTA for call now, and that can be tracked as well. And of course, you could also do it through the app. For this situation, like I said, we're going to do it through the website. And then now it's asking me to select my pixel. So I have my hypergrowth ads pixel here, which I already have tagged on my website. So I'll show you that example here. If I go to this landing page here, you could see that I have that pixel and it fires a page view. If I go to download the guide, when I go to the thank you page, what you're going to see is this page right here is tagged with a lead pixel, with a lead standard event. So it's the same pixel, but now Facebook knows that this is a lead. So this is what I'm looking for. People that go to this website, give me their information, and then make it to this page. By the way, this is a great extension that I love using and many media buyers love using, Facebook Pixel Helper on Chrome. It'll help you see this to make sure you have the right tagging set up on your website. Okay, so I'm gonna jump back here and minimize this. So I'm gonna find that pixel event here. And as you can see here on the right-hand side, as I'm building the audience, these audience sizes are starting to change because by default, I'm in the US market. You're seeing 216 to 254 million people because of that. Now, people like to debate, should you use a lifetime budget, daily budget? It doesn't matter. The reality is that if you're running a campaign for a limited amount of time and you have a specific budget, it's usually better just to use lifetime budget and let Facebook's algorithm deliver your budget and pace it evenly. However, if you don't have a set budget, you can just come in here and put whatever you're willing to spend. As a rule of thumb, what I would say is that if your estimated cost per lead for the type of product you're selling, so for your business vertical, whatever that is, you want to do some math on that and try to aim to get a minimum of 25 to 50 conversions a week. So here's an example of how you might calculate that. Let's say, for example, I already know because I've ran this campaign before that a cost per lead on average to download for these downloadables is about $30. So I want to do 30 times 50. Ideally, best practice, doesn't mean you have to, and doesn't also mean that you won't see performances, $1,500, a budget of $1,500 a week. So by 7 days, ideally, I would want to do 214. Doesn't mean you have to. And the reason why is because Facebook ads has a learning phase and the algorithm requires about 50 leads for you to be able to, 50 conversions for it to be able to optimize to figure out who your audience is. Now, even if you don't get 50 conversions or 50 leads a week, it doesn't mean your campaign is not going to perform. I've seen plenty of campaigns that don't exit the learning phase that do just fine. So again, it's what you're comfortable with, but if you wanted a best-in-class approach, do the math on what you expect to your cost per lead is going to be, and do at least 25 to 50 times a week. So I'm going to do, let's just say $30 times 25 leads per week, 750 divided by 7 days. So I'm going to do about I'm going to just do $100 a day. Just make it even. Daily budget. Okay, so then I'm going to say this campaign is going to start January 1st. Actually, I'm going to do Monday. Best in class approach. You want to start things towards the beginning of the week when you're launching campaigns. That's just kind of my rule of thumb. I've always seen better success. And just think about it. Why would you want to launch something on a Sunday when a business audience is not, most of them are not going to be online or looking to interact with business content? Okay, and then I'm going to do my end date is just, whatever, the end of the month for this example. Cool. So now I scroll down to my audience. I have a saved audience that I could use, but I want to show you how I would go about building this. So in this example, I already have people that have previously submitted for leads on my website. And what I did separately outside of this is I built a custom audience. And then from that custom audience, I then created a lookalike audience. So I already have it built. I have a separate video that'll show you how to do all that. You could just look it up on the channel. So I'm just going to look up this lookalike audience. And there's different ways to target on Facebook. You could do interest behavior targeting, custom audiences, and lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences have, for the longest time, been known to be some of the most effective audiences because of the fact that they're being modeled off of existing data that you have. Now, the better the quality of the data, the better the lookalike audience is going to perform. Let me just make sure I have this. Okay, cool. So I have here a lookalike 1%. You can go all the way up to a lookalike 10%. The difference is that as you go larger in size, there's less matching characteristics from that original source. So at 1%, you are matching the most amount of characteristics to that original source. And in this example, it's people who previously submitted a lead for this ebook. So 1% is precision. When I go to 10%, I get a larger audience size, but it's less precise. So for this, I'm just going to keep it at 1%. It's a best practice to, over time, start testing into broader audiences. And I'm just going to bring this down to 45 just because I have a good idea of my target audience. Here, you can obviously come in and move. You could do different locations. You could do a country. You could do zip codes. You could do DMA targeting. There's a lot of different ways that you could do this. For the most part, you want to keep this, the larger you can keep it, the better. One way that I might segment audiences if I was running across different countries is just make one ad set per audience. That reason being is you might want to modify your creative for the different countries, maybe different language, or maybe make some changes. But for this campaign, we're just doing US, so we're doing 25 to 45 here. Detailed targeting, this is interest behavior. This is, if I wanted to type in people that worked a certain, maybe a certain job title and industries. The reality is that kind of targeting is not great on Facebook because most people aren't incentivized to share that information with Facebook. On LinkedIn, however, people are incentivized to self-identify. So that kind of targeting works extremely well, but not so much on here. Also, you have interest behaviors. There's all kind of interest behaviors here. I could type in, let's say social media strategist, social media this is employer. One thing you want to note here is as you're searching through detailed targeting, and there's so many options here. Notice some of these say interest, some of these say job title, some of these say employer. So this is people who actually work at Social Media Examiner. So that's a publisher that does a lot of content around social media. So you might not want to target employer, but you might want to target somebody that's interested in Social Media Examiner, as you can see in this example here. Now, it's a best practice for you not to mix different types of targeting because then that way you don't know what's working. So you might, if you're going to do a lookalike targeting audience, you want that to be one separate ad set. And if you're going to do some detailed targeting, you want to separate that. And also you want to exclude targeting from each other. So as an example, if I created a separate audience, like if I duplicated this and came over here and called this, let's just call this is my duplicated version. I'm just going to say detailed targeting. It would be a best practice for me then to come in here and exclude this lookalike audience that I built here. So I would come over here and do lookalike 1%. Oh, wait, sorry. I would exclude that up here under custom audiences. So I can just come up here and just say exclude from this audience because I'm already targeting them here. So I don't want to have overlap. So that's one best practice that you're going to want to remember. Okay, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go back to my lookalike campaign. All right, so we got dates in here. We got the audience. We got the location. We got the age. Not adding anything extra here. All languages. Now, placements is where Facebook is going to show your ads. And just to give you a quick visual of that, you could see ads here on the feed. Oh, look at that. This is actually one of my clients. You can see ads over here on the right hand side. And there's many other places as well, as you can see ads. I usually recommend not using these because, as you can see, look how small, look how difficult it is to actually see these ads here. So I usually don't recommend those. The quality of those placements aren't the greatest. So that's what this is talking about. Now, I, as a best practice, always do manual because there's a lot of placements and there's some of these that you're not going to want to show up on. The first one you're not going to want to show up on, and I'll explain what all these are in a second, is this one down here. Apps and sites formerly called Facebook Audience Network. These are third-party apps and websites outside of Facebook, outside of Instagram, outside of WhatsApp, outside of Messenger. And oftentimes the quality of these placements are really bad. They show up on apps. Like if you download a free picture cropping tool, for example, sometimes there's a pop-up that comes, or a game that you download. That is exactly what this is, apps and sites. So as a default, I do not use this. All right, feeds, very important. Look at how many different feeds there are. There's the Facebook feed, Instagram feed, Instagram profile feed. Oh my God, endless. The ones that you're going to want to remove, and just for context, we're going to be running a video ad, which is going to be important because there's some placements that only show video. Right-hand column, I'm going to remove for my video ad. Everything else I'm okay with. Now, stories and reels. People love reels. They crush. As long as your video is formatted in a way that it works and also that isn't too long, I would just leave this on as a default. In stream, again, as long as your video and your content is formatted, in-stream is going to run primarily on Facebook, and that's when you have like the watch, one of your watch tabs, and these videos are going to show up not in between videos, but while you're watching a video. So if you're watching like a 10-minute video, it might show up as a mid-roll in that. So I'm fine with everything else. And also, one of the things that's important for you to understand is that your ads are dynamically being shown in all these places. So if it's seeing better performance and distribution on the feed, Facebook's going to dynamically move it there. If it's seeing better distribution on Instagram's feed or Reels, more of the impressions are going to go there. And there's actually a way that you could see the breakdown of this performance here in your reporting. You could see by delivery, and then you could see platform, or you could also do placement. And it's going to show you all the different places, and then you could actually see what's driving the most amount of link clicks and CTR. So you'll have access to all this information as well, which is the great part. Okay, moving on. So, all right, placements. We already removed what was unnecessary. And then show more options gives you some additional control. 99% of the time is probably not going to be relevant for anybody to really move any of this. So I would just leave things as they are here. If you're very concerned, maybe you have like a video and you're showing it in a market or in a country that just doesn't, tends to have really low, bad internet signal, you might want to use the only when connected to Wi-Fi. But again, 9 times out of 10, probably don't recommend you touching this. Okay, brand safety controls. This is going to be relevant mainly if you're doing the in-stream videos, because what happens is this lets you select what kind of videos your ads are going to be shown up, will show up in. Full inventory means it could be shown on anything, but there might be some questionable content that your video shows up in front of. A standard inventory has some kind of filtering, so you can, there's some sensitive topics that get filtered out. And then limited inventory would be if you're really conscious about your brand, and you only want it associated with the best quality content out there. I would say this is probably relevant for like luxury brands. I think for most people, standard inventory is going to be fine if you are using the in-stream video as one of the placements. Audience network, you have the ability to exclude websites and apps. If you're using that, 9 times out of 10, I don't think audience network is worth it, so I'm not going to go into detail. Okay, so now the last piece of the ad set level for audience targeting is optimization and delivery. So our goal here is conversions, And you might be thinking, well, wait, isn't our goal leads? Yes, our goal is leads, but this is a conversion optimized campaign. It just so happens to be that what we're defining as a conversion is someone that converts through the website generating a lead. So don't get confused on the terminology. As long as up here, as long as when you go to the campaign level, you selected leads, and as long as the conversion event you selected is lead or whatever you decide is a lead on your website, because you could also create custom conversions, or some people might might use the contact us standard event as a lead. There's different ways you can name this stuff, so don't get caught up on that. And again, there's separate videos I have on this, and there's tons of other resources online that'll guide you on how to set up your pixel and tag the right events. Okay, so moving back to it, optimization, delivery, we're going to leave it at conversions, and cost per result. If you have ran campaigns before and you know what a cost per lead generally costs for you, or if you have a ton of insight on like what you're willing to pay for a lead, you can type that in here, and Facebook is only gonna optimize around that. Now that doesn't mean that you're gonna get a bunch of leads at $25. No, what's gonna happen is Facebook's basically going to prioritize delivery of your ads towards audiences that are most likely to convert under that price. Now, let's just say, I don't know, you're getting 10 leads a day and you're like, oh, I love this. And now you 5x the budget. As you increase that budget, you still have this cost per result delivery cap. So that doesn't mean that you're going to start getting 5x the amount of leads. You might only be able to get an extra 3 leads a day at that $25 cap. So for 99% of the people, I'd recommend don't do that. By default, your bid strategy is going to be lowest cost, meaning Facebook's going to try to get you as many leads as possible for the cheapest price possible. And you're going to have a mix of some leads that might be like $15 and some might be like $40, but things will average out. And then the next piece, which is actually very important, is your attribution setting. So there's a few different ways you can set this up, but fundamentally what this means is that one day click is that a user sees your ad, and if they click on your ad that day, they will tend to also take the action that you're optimizing for that day. Now, when we're talking about a free gated asset like this downloadable, yes, that would be a one-day click. People don't come here on this website and then are like, geez, should I download it? Should I not? Let me think about it. Let me talk to my friends. Let me talk to my wife. People are not going to do that. If you were trying to book a trip or a cruise or something like that, maybe in that buying cycle, in that digital journey, people are going to go to a website, then to another, then think about it, then make some notes, then talk to some people. In that situation, 7-day click would make more sense, or ideally 7-day click, 1-day view. Because sometimes people might see the ad, not click on it, but actually still might have some sort of interest. So for lead generation, if you're trying to show a gated asset, so like an ebook, a white paper, something for free that you're going to give people that they can download, 1-day click, I would recommend most times doing a 1-day click. If it's a hard ask, so you're trying to get a demo booking, trying to get someone to sign up for a trial, that situation, you want to do 7-day click, because most users that land on a website for the first time are not ready to convert. So in that situation, you might want to do a 7-day click or 7-day click, 1-day view, which gives a little bit more flexibility to the algorithm. The next two pieces you do not want to touch, and we are now done at this screen. Now, it is time for us to go to the ad level. So I've already prepared an ad for us, and I actually want to show you real quick what that ad looks like. I'm going to turn the volume down so I don't blow your ears. And this is that ad.
Has iOS 14 hurt your Facebook ads ROAS? Then download the definitive guide for Facebook e-com ads performance from Market & Hustle today. We have insights from top Facebook ad spenders like Cartier, eBay, and Farfetch to help your ads generate more sales. And with tracking limitations and prices increasing, creating challenges in the digital ad industry, understanding how to build ads in service of the algorithm has become the
These are facts, by the way.
Not micro-targeting.
This guy knows his stuff. I don't know who this guy is, but
this free guide
he's sharp.
With post-iOS 14 best practices and ideas that you can take action on today. If you are running an e-com store or involved in digital marketing in any way, you will get something from this. Just follow the link below and get started for free.
Now, I know you're thinking that was a long ad. And yes, it was. It was about 53 seconds. Most people will tell you that when you make ads like video ads, oh wow, that's a screenshot. Most people will tell you that you need to make like 10-second ads or 8-second ads. And in some situations, I would say an 8 to 12-second video ad is a best practice. But depending on what the audience you're talking to, you can create longer form ad content and be quite successful with it. Anyways, all right, so that is the ad that we're going to be using. And now let me walk you through this piece of the campaign. So the first thing is I have here my ad name. I'm going to pump that in here. Branded content ad would be if you're partnering with a business and you want to like tag them in the ad. We're not going to do that. My Facebook page is already selected. I also want to select my Instagram account. Now we're going to do manual upload. So here where it says single image or video, it's already defaulted to the right option. Now there's many different types of ad formats that you can build. We're not going to get into it here. I'm going to leave multi-advertiser ads checked. This is a cool new little feature within the Instagram feed that can show your ad next to other complementary advertisers. So an example is that if you're like a wedding planner, someone could see your ad, then an ad for a wedding caterer, then an ad for a wedding DJ. And this is based on intent signals. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, I'm going to add media here. I'm going to say add video. And I actually already have this video uploaded, so I'm just going to click on it. Here, Facebook's saying, hey, we have different formats. Do you want us to crop your ad for the different formats? So for stories and reels, it's saying, hey, you should be cropped like this. Now, unfortunately, this video wasn't created to perfectly fit for stories and reels, and it's going to cut out my subtitles, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say original. And then for the other options, in feed, my original size is fine. I recommend doing a 4:5 ratio, which is what you just saw here with this ad that I showed you. Because it takes a lot of room on the real estate. It takes a lot of real estate space on the feeds. You could also do a 1:1, which is 1080 by 1080, which is square box. But I tend to see the best performance when you take up a little bit more room. So this is a 4:5. I'll show you the specs for this if you want to write it down. It is 1200 by 1500, which is also called a 4 to 5 aspect ratio. Okay, cool. So coming back here, I'm also going to leave this as original. And if you want, you could play and you can get a sense of what that would look like. I hit next. And now it's saying, hey, we want to make some enhancement to the ad. Standard enhancements. Some of these things are just like adjusting the contrast ratio depending on someone's like phone. So generally, I would suggest leaving these enhancements on. And then it could also show you some samples of those changes. Anyways, okay, cool. All right, so now the next piece is I am going to add my text. So my primary text is going to be my post copy, which I already have saved here. And that says, boost your e-com ads performance, learn how top Facebook ad spenders are tracking iOS 14 to drive trackable online sales growth. And then my headline, which actually people are going to notice first, is going to be download our guide, because I want to give context to what this actually is. So you see somebody's going to see the ad, it's going to play like this.
iOS 14 hurt your Facebook ads ROAS
in real time. And they're going to see download our guide. so they have a sense of what this is. Now the call to action button, there's many different things you can do here. You can do contact us, apply, get offer, get quote. I'm going to do download because this is what's most aligned to what I'm trying, to the action I want someone to take. Okay, now the next piece, description, you don't have to put one in. In fact, this is actually only going to show up on Facebook. It won't show up on Instagram, but you can. So I'm going to say trusted by 500 plus pros. All right, website URL. This is, I already have the website here. Now I've turned that into UTM tags. If you're not familiar, UTM tags is this additional string of code where you can define what type of campaign, what the source of it is, so that when you look at your data in Google Analytics and try to figure out where the leads are coming from, you have that information. So here it says Meta, it says Facebook Ads Ecom 2022. Actually, that should say 2023 technically. And it has the name of the creative here. So I'm going to put that in here. It's going to be that massive link. You don't have to touch anything here. Languages, we're not going to translate anything. We're just going to leave this off. And then your pixel. So I am going to select here my domain, which is marketinghustle.com. And that's already connected to that pixel on my website. Offline events, it might not be relevant for a lot of people, but if you have a business where people tend to convert offline, you have the ability of creating an offline event data set, which you can look up as a follow-up to this video. And you could actually, if you have a HubSpot or Salesforce, you can upload any records of customers who ended up going from a lead to a sale. And then you could re-upload back that information back up to Facebook, and you can actually add that here so you can see that here as well. So then you'd be able to see the leads that you got online, and then you'd be able to see who turned into a customer, and it's going to connect it back to that campaign and to that ad set. So then it allows you to optimize your campaigns in the future. So it's really cool. I'm not going to get into that. Also, by the way I added UTM tags here, you could separately add some of that information here. So there's two ways to do that. Okay, at this point, we have our campaign built, we have our audience built, and now we've just finished with our creative. So at this point, you might want to do advanced preview and just kind of see what the ads would look like on the different placements. So you could see here on the Facebook feed, on the Instagram feed, on the Instagram profile feed. And generally what I'm looking for here is to make sure that nothing looks weird and out of place. Nothing gets cut off. Nothing looks funky. That's generally, what I'm looking for. So everything looks good. If you have somebody that you need to share your ads for approval, there's this really great feature here that you have that you can actually generate a link. You can copy it, and then you can just send someone this link via email, and they can actually see what the ads look like without having access to your account. So maybe if you're building a campaign for someone else, someone will be able to see and give you feedback and tell you, hey, campaign approved or campaign not approved. Okay, so I'm just going to close all this here now. And at this point, typically what I would do is I would come over here and I would say publish. And Facebook's going to upload all of this. And remember, this campaign is scheduled, so it's not going live yet. It has been scheduled. And so no errors came through. So everything looks copacetic. And what I want to do is make sure that campaign is showing up here. Okay, cool. So that campaign is showing up here. If I click into it, I can see it's on. Again, it's not delivering yet because it's scheduled for a few days. And then creative, one of the things that's going to be good to do is look to make sure your ads are approved. It could take up to 24 hours. So usually you want to come in and check and make sure that that was approved. I'm just going to turn this off because I'm not going to be running this campaign. But anyways, that was an overview of how to build a campaign for lead generation on Facebook for 2023. Now, while I'm here, I also want to show you some results from this previous campaign that I had built and talk to you a little bit about an advanced audience strategy. Now, there's multiple audiences that you're seeing here under my lookalike campaign. And you can see that some of them spent, got a little bit of delivery and a few leads, and then some of them got more. So what I was doing here is I was testing different ways to build lookalike audiences, because there's many different ways. And it's very important that when you're first starting out off a campaign that you experiment to figure out what's working. So I built a lookalike from my email list that I had. I built a lookalike from people who went to the website and previously submitted a request to download this content. I built ones off of different landing pages that I had related to Facebook ads. So there's many different ways that I built these audiences. And what's going to be important for you when you're starting off is to do a lot of testing to figure out what works for you. If you can get the settings down right, if you can experiment, and if you can create good creative, that is what's going to fundamentally help you test, learn, and figure out how to make Facebook perform for you. Now, I hope this video has been helpful. And stay tuned to the channel, because I'm going to be making a lot more content for 2023. So until the next video, thank you guys. Peace.